and welcome to Vineyard Kids for Under 5's. Thank you for joining us today. Now, we're going to start with a game. Okay, so you might be able to see me. I can't see you. I'm blindfolded for this game, and I have a helper somewhere who is going to pass me some items that are from my house, and I've got to try and feel them and guess what they are. Okay, so can I have my first item, please? Oh. I think this is a book. Couldn't tell you what book. Is it a book?
That's correct.
Great. Oh. Now that noise gave it away. This is a teddy bear with a bell round its neck.
That's correct.
Oh, it's cold. I think it's a banana.
Yeah, correct.
Oh. Is it a box of tissues?
Yeah, correct.
Oh. It's nice and soft. Oh. It's got a bobble on it. Is it a hat?
Yes.
Is there any more?
Two more.
Oh. This is glass. Oh, and it's got a little spout, so I think it's a jug.
Yeah.
Doing well. Two more, so this is the last one.
No, one more after this.
One more after this. I think this is a slipper.
Yeah.
I think it's yours. And the last one. I recognise that noise. Again, I couldn't tell. It's a DVD, but I can't tell you which one. I'm not that clever.
Correct.
Great. So, we'll maybe give you an opportunity to play that game at the end. But now it's time for our story from the Bible this week, and I am going to take my blindfold off to read that. Okay, our story this morning is a little bit longer than sometimes, so I hope you're sitting comfortably, and I'll begin. So this story is from the book of Luke, chapter 24, and I'm reading from verse 13 all the way to 34. So, that same day, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking to the village of Emmaus, which was 7 miles from Jerusalem. As they walked along, they were talking about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things, Jesus himself suddenly began walking with them. But God kept them from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing so intently as you walk along?" They stopped. Sadness was written across their faces. Then one of them, called Cleopas, replied, "You must be the only person in Jerusalem who hasn't heard about all the things that have happened there in the last few days." "What things?" Jesus asked. "The things that happened to Jesus, the man from Nazareth," they said. "He was a prophet who did powerful miracles, and he was a mighty teacher in the eyes of God and all the people. But our leading priests and the other religious leaders handed him over to death, and they crucified him. We had hoped that he was the Messiah who had come to rescue Israel. And all this happened 3 days ago. Then some of the women from our group of followers were at his tomb early this morning, and they came back with an amazing report. They said that his body wasn't there. It was missing. And they'd seen some angels who told them that Jesus is alive. Some of our men ran out to see, and sure enough, his body was gone, just as the women said. Then Jesus said to them, "You foolish people, you find it so hard to believe all that the prophets wrote in the scriptures. Wasn't it clearly predicted that the Messiah would have to suffer all these things before entering his glory?" Then, as they carried on walking, Jesus took them through the writings of Moses and all the prophets, explaining from the scriptures the things concerning himself. By this time, they were nearing Emmaus and at the end of their journey. Jesus acted as if he were going on, but they begged him, "Stay with us the night, since it's getting late." So he went home with them. As they sat down to eat, he took the bread and blessed it. Then he broke it and gave it to them. Suddenly their eyes were opened, and they recognized him. And at that moment, he disappeared. They said to each other, "Didn't our hearts burn within us as he talked with us on the road and he explained the scriptures to us?" And within the hour, they were on their way back to Jerusalem. They found the 11 disciples and the others who had gathered with them. And he said, "He really has risen." What an amazing story. Now, this story happened on the same day that Jesus came back to life. And these men, his friends, will have been a bit confused and a bit sad because they thought their best friend Jesus had died. But then they had heard that he'd come back to life as the women had gone to the tomb and found it empty. But I don't think they quite believed it, and it would have been a very confusing time for them. So anyway, they were walking along, and then Jesus came alongside them, but they didn't recognise him. And they won't have been wearing a blindfold like I was in the game, but still, they just didn't see that it was him. Until the very end of the story. And then they got it. It was Jesus. Jesus had come back to life. Isn't that amazing? And that's what we celebrated last week at Easter, that Jesus is alive. So what does this story mean for us? Well, like the men in the story, they didn't recognise Jesus even though he was with them. And sometimes that's us too. We don't see what Jesus is doing around us and in us. But Jesus is alive and he is with us always. Isn't that incredible? Okay, so that's all we've got time for today. But maybe you want to go off and have a go at the game I played earlier on. Maybe you want to be blindfolded and have to guess things, or maybe you want to blindfold someone else in your family, maybe a grown-up or a brother or a sister, and have them have a go at guessing the things they can't see. Or maybe an idea might be to go and look and see where you can find God. Go out and have a walk and see where you can find God in creation. And we sent some Easter activities out, and one of those is especially about doing that. So do check them out if you haven't done already. But as we finish today, I am just going to pray. Jesus, we thank you that you are alive. Thank you that you are at work in the world. And thank you that you are always with us. Open our eyes and help us see you. Amen. See you soon, everyone. Bye.